All right, folks. Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. on July the 6th, and I'm going to call to order this special called meeting of the mayor and council. And I will look for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. Marchman to adopt the agenda as
Second.
presented. A second from Mr. Carter. All in favor? All right, we will have an agenda here. A1, resolution of support, Safe Streets for All Safety Action Planning Grant. Chris Montesinos.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm bringing forward an opportunity for the city to apply for a Safe Streets for All Safety Action Planning Grant. A little background on this particular grant. This is through the United States Department of Transportation. Last year, both the city of Carrollton and Carroll County were funded this grant. Looking back at the previous grant awards across the state for the last couple of years, the average is $400,000. So I went ahead and drafted our application to match that request. Every applicant that applied last year was funded, and they even had additional monies left over last year they rolled into this year, which means that we're almost certain to be selected for the project. One advantage over this, over some of our prior studies, we had the Transportation Master Plan, didn't come with any money to do anything, just to identify some of the problem areas. But this, what this program is geared for is to strive for zero fatality accidents. So it looks citywide at what the most dangerous intersections are, and then proposes projects or opportunities to address those issues. So I think it's a good opportunity for us, civically and politically both, to forecast the population growth that we do see coming down the pipeline, and to, in the process of planning, address what we expect to be increased issues in our intersections and transportation corridors.
Okay, very good. And my understanding is, and I heard you just say that all of the applicants were awarded this grant last year and there were funds left over. So you felt really strongly that in applying for this grant, we would likely be selected and receive this funding. Now, this has match funds, right?
Correct.
And that is?
This is part of the request for this. Which,
I know, but it's 20%, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I just want you to say
Yes.
say it out loud. And then, and the reason the primary reason we're holding this special call meeting today is because the application deadline is Monday. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the day prior to the regular
To the next council meeting.
Yes.
So, and we had originally thought we might do this a little earlier, but this was the date that we were finally able to get together.
Correct.
So, council, you have that presentation. You've had an opportunity, I guess, to review at least some of the information. Do you have any questions for Chris? Okay. If there are no questions, obviously, anytime we can get grant money that we can put to use here for public safety, we should do that. I would wonder if Mr. Carter has a motion.
I do.
Mr. Carter.
I move to approve the resolution of support for the city's application for a federal Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A Safety Action Planning Grant and $80,000 city match contingent on award approval.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Carter. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. McPherson. All in favor? All right, that is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, and we added the budget calendar to this special called meeting because we were already doing it. I had not, this is sort of an abbreviated calendar this year, but there are some reasons for that, and we're getting to it a little bit later than we usually do. So I'm going to recognize Jennifer to just update us on this, and if we can always amend this later, but this gives us an outline, so I'm going to let you go ahead. I'm going to recognize you. Go ahead.
Sure. Good afternoon. Yes, what you have before you, what I gave you before the meeting, is the actual meetings that would need your participation, any special called meeting, or if you're on the finance committee. The special called meetings would be for the various public hearings we would need for both the millage rate and then the budget. Depending on the millage rate and what's decided, we have to have a minimum of 3 public hearings. In the budget, you're only required to have 1, but in history, we've had 2. So this is keeping with the same schedule that we had last year, within a few days or so. And the reason that it looks a little bit more condensed than it did last year is these are just the meetings, like I said, that require your participation.
Right.
The other meetings are staff behind the scenes, us crunching the numbers, meeting with the departments, getting in the weeds of everything so that we can present y'all a budget book for the budget workshop that's kind of got a lot of that other stuff worked out.
Right, so typically this looked like a full page, but it's because this was putting together the city manager meetings with various department heads.
Correct.
We were getting the entire calendar
Correct.
before, where this is where the mayor and council meet jointly. There are workshops on here, and then there are the required meetings that are required by law. We also don't have our numbers from the counties until when?
Good question.
Because there's a problem in Douglas County this year, right?
They did have a assessed value or something with their notices that went out.
That's
on
right.
Several thousand of their notices. So I know they're correcting that. And then they're all working, so this is not a negative toward Douglas or Carroll County, but on the Carroll County side, we have the tax allocation district.
That's right.
And so does Carrollton. So the
Right.
tax commissioner is working on getting all of that, making sure that's 100% correct before she provides us that information.
Okay.
So normally we do have the information from Carol by middle of June, but because of that, she's already sent us an email to all the entities within Carroll County and said, hey, I'm going to need a little bit more time so we can make sure that we give you correct numbers and not have to reissue the digest because of some error.
That's right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we said that out loud. All right, does anybody have any questions on this calendar as presented?
I got
Mr. Carter?
When would we, as a council, expect to see a copy of the budget?
Usually, going back what we did last year, and I think even the year before, about a week before the work session. So it would be, the workshop is Tuesday, August the 22nd from 10:30 to 3. So it would be around the week prior to that,
So we try to have it out maybe the first week or late the first week in August.
or probably let me see.
Let's see if we could have a date
Yeah,
on that.
it
if we
really
could.
matters, because if you're going through that entire budget on your own, page after, page, line by line, it takes a lot of hours. So, and then we usually end up with revisions, then revisions are done, then we do another so it's extremely time consuming.
Could we get it by the 15th?
Yes,
Let's
that's
see
exactly
if
the
we-
date that I was.
Let's see if we could shoot for that.
That's a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, sir.
I think I'd like it a little better if it was the 11th, but if you can do it by the 15th, I think that gives everybody a solid week
Sure.
to, and nobody's going to absorb all that in a week. We know that. But
Right.
people will be able to go through and make notes. I mean, Ms. McPherson's going to have about 17,000 sticky notes in there. So I don't know how long it takes to do 17,000.
No, 16,900 and.
Oh, I had miscounted the last time she flipped through. Okay, anyway, any more questions? All right, Mr. Carter, you got a motion for me?
I move to approve the 2024 budget and millage calendar as proposed.
All right, I have a motion for Mr. Carter to approve the budget calendar as proposed. And everybody's racing. And Ms. Marchman, second. All in favor? All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Okay, we've reached public comments. Did anybody sign up for public comments? Okay, is there anybody here who would like to be recognized for public comments? There's only one member of the public here. I'm not gonna point them out. But if they don't start moving, then I'm gonna close public comments. Okay, so nobody wants their 3 minutes of fame. So, Mr. Macklin, we have, at the late hour today, added an executive session per your request.
Yes,
for-
I would ask that we have an executive session to give the council an opportunity to meet with their attorneys to discuss matters protected by the attorney-client privilege concerning pending legal matters within the city.
All right, could I get someone to make the motion that
Yeah, I move we go to executive session.
for the purposes as
Yeah,
stated
For the purpose stated by our city
by the
attorney.
city attorney? And I have a second from Ms. Marchman. All in favor? All right, folks, we'll be in executive session until we come back. I do not expect it to take more than 10, 12, 15 minutes.